are back here with another work in progress video, and this time we got 3 Adam Coles. I'm gonna try and keep this intro short, but this is gonna be my first time doing 3 customs in one video, and that's because they're all 3 Adam Coles. So for the gears, I'm gonna be doing this red Bullet Club gear for the middle one. This one, or one of these two, is gonna be the yellow AEW attire, and then I think the baby blue attire from when he faced MJF on Dynamite. And then I'm gonna put Bo Dallas legs on these, and probably smaller knee pads. But yeah, we're going for a short intro today just because how excited I am to work on these customs. I already got the formula laid out for this one. As you see, it looks pretty nice. This was just the Undisputed Era 3-pack figure with the Bo Dallas legs and Elite, I think it was 92 arms on it. I'm probably going to cut to swapping the legs on these two, so yeah. To start off this black Adam Cole here, I'm going to acetone the Undisputed Era boots. I think that's really all I had to do. I already had the formula put together, and all I had to do was just acetone and then put the decals on. A little tip for acetoning: if you're going to acetone, make sure you take the legs off. In this instance, I didn't because it was just the boots, but if you're gonna acetone, take the legs off, and make sure not to acetone the torso. I found that out the hard way. Alright, so starting off with the decals here in this Bullet Club Adam Cole, I went back over and redid them after this because I didn't like how the back one and the front one turned out. They both were kind of wrinkled, and when I went back over to touch them up with the paint, it just looked even worse. Really wasn't that big of a deal since they were just a front and a back decal, really nothing to them. I think the problem with the first go around was I tried to rush through it, which you never want to do with a custom because then you'll have to end up either redoing it or just suck it up and realize that it looks really bad because you tried to rush through it. But now getting on to the yellow one, I primed it and I'm painting. I started off with this Citadel Air, and I didn't like how it was coating. It really wasn't coating that good. So I used the Citadel Air for the first coat and then went over with Vallejo for the second coat. Now the blue, I used Vallejo for the blue mixed with a little bit of Citadel, I think, base, and it coated really well actually. It only needed like 3 coats over the white. So I think personally the blue turned out really well. Oh wait, no, I guess I lied. I did the Citadel for I think 2 or 3 coats, and then I moved on to the Vallejo. Guess I'm a liar. But here's the blue again. Really, after the first coat, it maybe only needed 1 more, but I went over with the 3rd coat just to be safe. Here's when I switched to the Vallejo yellow. The Citadel one was turning it was so light, and it didn't cover that well, so the white behind it was peeking through, and it was almost turning it into a greenish yellow. So I switched to the Vallejo. It covers way better on knee pads, and that's what I wanted. Also, I forgot to mention this in the last customizing video, but if you're painting and putting decals on a knee pad, you're going to want to go over it with a coat of Mod Podge, just so it doesn't get sticky, because knee pads for some reason tend to get sticky after you paint them and put decals on them. I think it's just because it's a really soft rubber. So you're going to want to make sure to go over it with 1 coat of Mod Podge. That should do the trick. Now moving on to the decals for the blue Adam Cole. The back decals for these were actually really annoying to get on. These front ones were really easy, but the back one was a pain. I think mainly just because it covered such a large portion of the back that it kept on wrinkling. So I had to go over it with the micro sole. I don't know which one it was. I think it's the micro sole. I think I'm using the micro set right now. But yeah, back one's really a pain. If you're doing back decals, and they're a bit larger, like this one I'm doing right now, it's going to be way harder to put them on just because they'll keep on wrinkling and stuff. As you can see there, that one covers like the entire back. So yeah, those were super annoying. I actually think this is the second go around with these decals because I screwed them up on the first one because I did not know what I was doing. Okay, so moving on to what I think is the most important part about doing decals, and that is the touch-ups. If you don't know what I mean about doing touch-ups on decals, that's just where you go over the edge of the decal with some paint to make it look a lot better, to make it blend in and look more natural. Because no matter how good you are at doing decals, you're always going to need to do touch-ups. Unless you are using Ghost White decals, which is just a decal on a clear background. So yeah, always make sure to do touch-ups on the decals, make them blend in. Sometimes when you're using all black decals, they'll kind of crease, they'll get white creases in them. You want to make sure to go over with some black paint, cover those up, make it look nicer. Now the touch-ups for the yellow and the blue Adam Cole were kind of giving me trouble just because there's so much I had to blend in. The yellow on the decals for this Adam Cole was a little darker than the yellow paint I use, so I had to go over the entire yellow on the decal and kind of blend it in with the yellow that I was using. So that was a whole process in itself. I had to do that on the blue as well because the blue was also different than the blue that I was using. Now the blue touch-ups were a little bit easier than the yellow ones because the yellow, I had to go over it with multiple coats. The blue covers really well, so I only went over it with one coat. Still really, I guess you could say, tedious trying to get into all the crevices of the logo on the back. Right here, I'm just going over the decal, the lightning bolt, because as you can see, it doesn't go all the way up to the top of the crotch piece, so I'm just filling in that little blue space with some black. Also went in, added the white as well. Just trying to make it look as best as possible. It makes it a lot easier if you have a super fine tip paintbrush. It just makes life 10 times easier doing this stuff. And here we go. Here is the finished product. I think these turned out amazing. I love the blue one. I think the blue one is my favorite. It just looks really clean, and I like how the paint turned out on it. Then I did mention how I had to go over and redo the decal for this one. The original decal, it was starting to wrinkle here on the back, so I had to go over it and smooth it out. I took the original decal off, cleaned it up a little bit with some paint, and then I put another one back on, and it looked better. And for the yellow one, I think it turned out just as good as the blue one. I mean, they are basically the same attire, but yeah, I really like how the paint also turned out on this one. Looks really good. So yeah, really happy with how these turned out. If you want to see any customs, leave a comment down below. Maybe I'll do some. I know I have another custom video coming up within the next few weeks. Like, if you have any questions on the process of making these, I will make sure to answer your comment. But yeah, I think that's about it for this video. If you made it to the end, thank you very much. And next video will probably be Okada versus Gunther. So stay tuned for that.